University of Jharkhand. Professor Manoj Kumar Arora, Director, PEC, University of Technology, Punjab. Professor R. Venkat Rao, Vice Chancellor, National Law School of India, University, Bangalore. Professor G. James Pichai, Vice Chancellor, Bharatiya University. Professor Manoj Kumar Arora, Director, PEC, University of Technology, Punjab, to be the moderator for the session. And before we start the session, we would have a technology presentation by Ravi, Solution Specialist, Education Solution, Microsoft.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. I think it's a little early in the morning right now because a lot of seats are empty right So, do we get started or do we wait for a few more minutes for some people to join? I think 5 minutes. We started? Okay. So, I'm, as already been introduced, I'm Ravi. I'm the solution specialist at Microsoft, focused on education solutions. Microsoft has a very huge focus on education sector. We provide various, I'll talk through that as my slide goes in. We do a lot of work in the education area, and it's a great honor to be here with all of you to share what we do at Microsoft. And the topic about, bringing quality and inclusiveness in education is a very, very relevant and pertinent topic, and an area that Microsoft also deeply focuses on. And over the last 4 to 5 hours yesterday, we discussed various factors about what impacts students and students' employability, and how universities are focusing on providing them a quality education and employable skills. So we heard various parts of it, and in my presentation you will see how some of the things that you talked about yesterday, we try and provide certain platforms and programs that can assist you in bringing those ideas to bear. So, do we have the screen up? Yeah. Okay, so as we all talked about yesterday, the world is changing. The way people are working, the way workforce is looking today, the way students are learning, the way faculty is improving their own skills, all these are changing. There's a whole lot of new dimension that's coming into the education space, primarily driven by what the market needs. So there's a lot of technology. As you can see, there are some statistics here that in moving forward, there are about 77% of all the jobs would require technical skills, which means that the universities, if they have to ensure the students are, we have quality students and we provide employment, then they need to be technically ready. So the whole paradigm is changing, and a lot of that is putting a lot of pressure on the higher education to change the way they teach and learn in the universities. So while what the market is changing, there's also changes in the way higher education institutes and the universities are looking at technology and leveraging technology for making their students future ready. So if you look at this slide, there are 4 different aspects of the changes or the trends that are going on in the industry today from an education standpoint. Mobility is one of the key factors. So students and teachers want the ability to connect and learn anytime, anywhere with any kind of devices, right? So, and as we all know, there are a lot of distance learning that we have already in place. Every university runs some kind of a distance learning program. Now earlier it used to be more of you sending paper-based syllabus to those students, and then students learning, filling their assignments. All that takes a lot of time, but with technology you can do it online. So people learning from distance can have almost, if not the same, experience as people sitting in the classroom today with the help of mobility technologies that we have in the market. Cloud. So cloud allows you to keep all your training material, provide these infrastructure that you need. So often when we think about bringing good quality education, we think about faculty as well as students. But what is also important is a great infrastructure by the university as well, their own IT infrastructure, the way they manage their university, the systems in place, the examination tools, so on and so forth. So cloud provides a way of having these IT capabilities for universities in the most efficient manner. Social is another big part of it. Social is again a lot to do with how people want to learn today. People want to share information on the with their students. Or for example, if a college is running a project or a research, which we talked about quite yesterday extensively, you need ability to collaborate with others. So when you, one of the things that we talked about is, a paper needs to be published in a journal. Now, if that paper has to go to a journal, I think few people around the university first review, provide their comments to that paper, and then the thesis can go into a journal, right? Request for to be put in a journal. So these kind of collaborative tools is very important from a technology standpoint, from providing a better quality of education to students. And this also provides a better way of getting the students engaged in their learning process. The last but not the least is the big data. That's another area of focus where a lot of colleges. Now, this is used in multiple areas. One, how do we use the available data on the net or the unstructured data that's available in the cloud, pull that, make a sensible conclusion out of it, and take corrective actions or take improvement actions. Now, this could be in terms of improving your operational efficiency within the university, or it could be in terms of doing a research. So when we talk about research, you need a large set of data to analyze. Like you said, sir, we need the data. Why this data? How this data? And what can be made out of this data? That's what we do with the big data and analytics that we have from a technology standpoint. See, with all these, changes in the trend, this basically means if we need to have a good quality of students passing out of our universities, then we need to provide them skills which is, relevant to the 21st century. As I mentioned earlier, we have a huge paradigm shift in the way the market is putting pressure on the higher education. So if higher education meets that demand through providing 21st century learning, then you will have better quality of students passing out, and maybe after they get into the jobs, they also get better in their jobs as they move forward in their career. So when you look at what's 21st century, then one is, the traditional way, rather the way that I studied, is also sitting in the classroom, the professors sharing the information, we learning. We needed a little more books, so we went out to the bookstores, bought a few more books, and then made notes out of it and studied. But today the scenario has changed. I get everything on my mobile, I get everything on my laptop, sitting wherever I learn a whole lot of things. So the blending this traditional and the formal and informal education becomes very important. From a government perspective, everybody is looking at digitization of technology, education. So even schools, at school levels, government has started, providing e-textbooks, giving textbooks in the form of electronic format. So that's even applicable in higher education. I think a lot of content is now moving into a digital part of it. Now, once you provide these two, like we discussed yesterday as well, I still remember one slide which talked about this forms that 50% that you talked about, what a person needs from a knowledge standpoint. There were another 50% that were in the areas of providing them better capabilities in terms of soft skills, in terms of other skill set that makes them employable, right? So this is where a focus needs to be from the higher education side, and we have a lot of work to do from that standpoint. And all this put together, each student varies in his capabilities of learning, and every student is now looking at more of personalization. Personalization is a way of life today in every part, in every business. So it is in education as well. So from a Microsoft standpoint, we look at it from a very holistic approach. We look at education from a, we want to provide education to everybody, anytime, anywhere. And for that, we are focused on thought leadership, where we work with, industry bodies and the educational departments and so on and so forth in the policies across the world. We also have great partnerships with the education academics and the partner ecosystem, developing new softwares and tools and solutions for education. We have various programs that we run. I will talk about a few of those in the next 2 minutes. And of course, the technology, which is one of our core strengths. So, like I mentioned earlier, providing, bringing out a quality student has 3 parts to it: the students, the faculty, and the institution itself. So when you look at Microsoft in higher education, we provide various programs for students, focused on faculty, and focused on institutional efficiency. So I won't go into every bullet point of this particular slide, but I want to emphasize that Microsoft has focus on all 3, and only when we focus on all 3 of these aspects is when we will have quality students passing out of universities and higher education. So quickly going through some of the programs, Office 365 is one of our flagship collaboration and productivity tool. It provides access to email, collaboration, instant messaging, and security, access to your mails and data on any device, provides mobility. This is one of the the trends that I talked about. So what does this do from an education standpoint? From an education standpoint, it provides you an ability to create groups and projects. Projects can be discussed. So like any research, you could have a few people working on it. And it also provides the necessary security in terms of role-based security. That means only people that need to access the data will get access to data based on the permissions that you set. Then you can also create virtual and digital classrooms using O365. This is what we talked about. When you're looking at really the distance learning, O365 improves. Now, one of the things that yesterday we were talking, the Gujarat Technical University talked about, providing information across the 400,000 students have been a challenge. Using O365, those challenges can really be addressed. This is another program that we have called the Microsoft Academy, IT Academy. This is where we provide students with the ability to, let me take a step back. So when an engineer or when any graduation, student graduates from a higher education, what we study in the school versus what the market needs, there's a small gap in between. And that's where the Microsoft IT Academy comes into picture. So the higher education, the syllabus that you have is very relevant, very pertinent, but on top of it, you need a bridging course for people to be ready to get into the market. So this IT Academy provides those certifications required. So once a student goes through these training programs, he gets he can write an exam and get certified, and that adds value to his resume along with academics when he passes out from an employability standpoint. The Partners in Learning, this is a program that we have invested over $500 million over the last few years, and it is being used by a lot of different countries. Partners in Learning program is it's more like a platform where people, students and faculties, educators, administrators get on. They can exchange ideas, they share their thoughts, they consult, provide consulting. And this is across the globe, so you get a very broad perspective. So when we are talking about research, making education institutes more effective, this becomes a platform where you can really get access, really look at exchanging ideas across the globe. And this is a service that any educator or any college can sign up today, and it's no cost, program that we have. So to summarize, I just want to say that if you look at any university and you want to do bring out really quality students out of the organization, out of your higher education universities, we have a complete package right from the PCs and notebook to the back-end data that you need to manage from an operational efficiency. So Microsoft offers all of this wide variety of services and technologies that can help you in your goals of bringing really the quality students out of your organization with the help of.
And it's really a privilege to be here to talking to you and bringing about a very important point which impact the quality of education in this country across to you. We're talking about universities are for students, pretty common sense, and all we know, the common sense is something which is missing in the business most of the time. And in colleges, when you and me been to the college, it was just not sufficient to understand what teacher is saying. We need to reproduce and get the marks, and that's how the colleges get the ranking. That's how the student gets his skill being proven into industry. So connecting between the teachers and the student is at the heart of the functioning of any university or any institute for that matter. So I'm going to talk about a pretty basic thing, which is very human-centric as far as the existence and performance of the universities are concerned. So what we talk is the connection between the teachers and the student is something called intelligibility of the sound. Essentially means the teachers are getting what students are saying and students are getting what teachers are saying. It's a two-way communication. And for that, the principal thing is the design, the structure of the building and the treatment which is done inside the building need to be appropriate. And once we achieve intelligibility of the sound in the space given, the mechanical noises, the noises because of the ACs or the fans, they need to protect the environment which is inside. This is a two-step process which happen into any education spaces which you build. We say who is more risk in the colleges. Like these days the teachers may feel that students are more advanced. But yes, the students are at more risk when it comes to with respect to acoustics. They are giving their time of their life, and that's the only time available for them to educate themselves. And normally when we've been into the schools and colleges, what we find is the toppers are in the front bench. And the backbenchers are really backbencher. And why do that happen? Because of lack of proper acoustics inside the space. And when we say that the students are not effective listener, there are multiple factors to it. And it's good to dwell on those factors because that is the core of learning in the classroom. When we talk about the students, they have thousands of things happening in their head. So they are not as effective listeners as adults are. And more so in higher education, when the new theories been introduced, new words and new terminology been spoken to them, they are not familiar with those words. Plus, they are not learning in their primary language. They are learning in English, which is the second language or third language. And depending upon the professors and his pronunciation, the word may appear different. That gives more emphasis on having proper acoustical environment into the space. Plus, 20 to 30% of the students do develop some bit of hearing loss, which is temporary or permanent. Permanent maybe because of iPod and mobile phones which they use, and temporary because of environmental changes and ENT infection which happen throughout the class. Whole in whole, it gives very high importance around acoustics inside the classroom for the proper education to exist in the space. And we as an adult, if we go and sit in the same class, we may find it perfectly okay. But the young one who is learning it for the first time do not find it so. And this study done by Acoustic Society for Education in US really clarifies this statistically. Articulation index is an objective measure of the clarity of the sound in the space. 0.8 is a superb index to have, where adult will get 100% of the words spoken in that space, where the young one lose 10%. But what we have in our environment is around 0.6 to 0.4, wherein they tend to lose 30 to 40% of the word. Now just imagine, if somebody is not getting 3 or 4 words in 10 words spoken in a class, what will be his learning ability? What he will feel about the subject? Either he will say, subject is not good or teacher is not interesting. And that is because of the effect of the treatment which we provide inside the classroom. Now this is a case study of very successful 50-year-old school. And why I'm taking this case study out here is because this is very, very same example as we have in our current colleges and universities. Very hard surfaces when it comes to the floor, walls, and the ceilings, which is essentially the space which we provide for learning hour after hour. And the reverberation time out there is more than 1 second. And human brain can distinguish a sound moment it's reflected more than 0.5 second delay. So essentially there exist two sounds when it is reflected beyond 18 feet or 14 feet. So we did a acoustical intervention and we put a ceiling which brought down the time to less than 0.6 second in this space. Now what I'm going to show you a short video of 1 minute. This is a note given by a teacher who found a difference before and after doing the acoustical intervention. The NC standard, the American standard for schools, talks about 0.6 seconds as a minimum criteria to have into education spaces. So this is the short video from the teacher.
Started out with my usual tone, which is loud because I'm hearing a lot of extraneous sounds, pencils, paper, windows, and I did not hear that today. It was great. I was just hearing their voices, and I also noticed that I could hear them better. They were talking softly today. I could hear them better. Usually I get some hesitation after I ask a question, and I find myself repeating the question, or did everyone hear the question? I get a lot of no's. Today I found that I was able to do more teaching in the same amount of time. I felt like I was closer to my children today, and they were closer to me, instead of always reaching and straining. Overall, the kids seemed more interested, and I think it's because they didn't have to focus on me telling them that I can't hear you, or their classmates telling them they couldn't hear them. And then I think it just was less of a distraction.
So what she said was extremely profound. She felt more connected to the students, and all of us do some teaching in a classroom. We feel when we are bingo and connected with our students and when we are not. So there's a different fun in learning, there's a different speed in learning. You can cover up more syllabus. The efficiency of the teacher goes up to the next level. The students feel more enlightened when they attend the class, not bored and faded. And that's how the university became a great university, or a college became a great college. It is all about what happened hour after hour, minute after minute, inside the classroom that determined the quality of education. Yes, we need a good infrastructure, we need a great teacher, we need a good student, and we do our part of thing in terms of selecting student. We put them to the test, and we put the teachers also to the training programs. But what happened? Why don't we get uniform results across the student fraternity which we have in our colleges? Just because the connection between them hour after hour is something at the heart of their learning ability inside the classroom. So somebody called architect build a space and do some treatment also. Our ultimate objective of all the expenditure which we are putting up to put up the building and the institute and the running cost of the institute is to provide a healthy and a productive place for the occupant of the building. Now, we spend more time in the spaces which we build where we work than our homes. And if that space is more productive and healthy, we can make more results out of it. The entire expenditure which we do is ultimately to make sure that human performances in that building, be it auditorium or a classroom or a library, is at the level of excellence what we can achieve. So acoustic comfort is a new term which is getting introduced into green buildings for indoor environmental quality. This is the first step toward bringing in acoustics as a heart of designing of any facility which exists. Now, which essentially means 4 components. Means intelligibility of the sound, means privacy of the sound, means low distraction, annoyance, and concentration wherever appropriate. Now, these are the 4 dimensions of acoustical comfort, and each area which we design has a different requirement toward acoustical comfort. For example, like classroom, we require very high intelligibility and very high concentration. We want teacher and student to understand each other clearly. We also do not want any external noise to come in and distract the learning ability and the flow of the learning which is happening inside the classroom. When it comes to office or teacher's private office, we require a privacy as main thing. So people should not overheard outside that room what has been spoken inside. Let's take an example of a passage on a corridor in a university or a college. Involuntary movement will keep on happening there. And so when somebody talk in the passage, all the classroom in an entire learning in the passage will get distracted because of the involuntary movement happening there. The solution could be for that is absorb that sound there and then and does not allow it to go into the classroom. Now that looks very simple but so profound because it impacts every day and every hour of existence of the education institute. Now this is some of the practices which goes around that. When teaching happen inside the classroom, what we really want is direct sound from teacher going to the students. Now this sound is something which is good. We also happy with early reflection. So the hard surface behind teacher is good because it reflects the sound in the same frequency of the original speech. But what we don't want is the late reflections and echoes. Anything which is more than 15 to 18 feet has potential to reflect sound more than 0.5 seconds of delay. And so our classroom which is more than 50 to 60 students are the largest size classrooms where echo does exist. So only parameter we have in our hand is to control the size of the room, the shape of the room, and the surface treatment which we do. That is at the heart of giving the proper acoustics inside this place. This is a small case study where teacher is speaking at 66 dB in this case, and the student at the last row is getting 48 dB. So with a background noise of 55 dB. Now these days there are a lot of apps available on the phone called Sound Meter. You can just download those apps and measure a background noise in your space. So if the background noise is 55 dB, which is a normal case into running institute, the minus 7 dB is at the last row, and 10 dB less is half loud. That's acoustics, it's a logarithmic. So minus 7 dB is a really bad learning environment. Now in the same setup for the same student, if we just change the orientation of the class, we get 54 dB, which is minus 1 dB, far better learning environment. And this is the best situation to have for having classes where the teacher could be in the center, and that is possible in higher education for case studies kind of environment. So just to summarize, the ceiling systems can provide a simple solution, the most cost-effective solution to manage the reverberation time into the space. Just to give an example, the 2-second reverberation time sound like this.
This is a demonstration of room reverberation in architectural space.
This is like unbearable. 2 seconds, we can't understand what this guy is saying.
This is a demonstration of room reverberation in an architectural space.
Now this is the same sound in two different environments. One is treated, one is untreated. And it doesn't matter how hard you listen or how loud you listen. Acoustics is a function of brain to understand and listen. So we need to treat the space to make it more productive. So acoustical ceiling solutions gives the most economical way. If the room is large enough like this, then treating some of the walls with diamond kind of shapes, some wall treatment, the farthest wall from the source of sound or one of the shorter wall is enough to be treated. If it is a larger room, then having some floats like this can actually, the picture down there can help to break the sound path and give a sound clarity. The last option is to put a carpet or a vinyl floor onto the flooring, which can also enhance the absorption in the space. All in all, the requirement is to provide a 0.6 reverberation time into the space, which will enhance the sound clarity. And once we achieve that, we got to be extremely mindful about where our windows are, where the traffic movement is, where the generator sets and AC units are located, so that sound is not coming inside the space and distracting the clarity which is there. Even adding the ceiling systems give us impact isolation class. So the movement which happen on above floor, the sound which come from the above floor is also isolated to enhance the learning system. We got to be mindful about how our walls are built and what kind of STC we have in these walls, so that the learning ability is maintained in the space. So the background noise requirement as per NC standard is 35 dB, which is very stringent. The lead talks about 40 dB as a background noise to have. And the moment you have a low background noise, your articulation of the language is far, far better. Now imagine a situation where the background noise is 50 dB or 60 dB. You can only talk by shouting in that space. Now that's where the language skill goes out of the window. And India has produced a lot of good engineers and doctors, mainly because of the subject which are taught on the board right from the beginning. So they get communicated to the classes and the masses in a bigger effective way than the language skill. And you find the student which comes to higher education do lack skills with respect to languages because they are not taught properly right from the beginning in the school level. So coming back to the short introduction about Armstrong. Armstrong is a 152-year-old company, globally present with more than 32 manufacturing plants, truly leader into the segment. We present across the globe with more than 60-70% market share and really high quality manufacturer of the products and services which we provide. And green and hygiene is the heart of our existence, and we make quality ceilings and floorings and wall products. This is a case study of IISER Pune. This is one of the institute we got engaged with them through architect and direct end customer quite early in the stage, and if you have an opportunity, this is a very good learning environment where they use different product in different spaces to provide proper acoustical comfort, be it auditorium, the passage, the learning labs, the student rooms, everywhere they use appropriate product as per the merit. There are innovation solutions like this which can actually make the spaces looks better. The library rooms and the planks options are available. So you can treat this, the place as per the merit of the place, depending upon what kind of humidity you have, what kind of design requirement which you have, which is a part of the image of the institute also. So acoustical wall treatment which comes in fabric and the wood finish can actually enhance the aesthetics and performance of the space too. And mostly the universities and colleges are using our products in auditorium per se, thinking that that's where the problem exists, mainly because the reverberation time is something like 2 seconds out there in those spaces. And they are the early one, they do some treatment out there. But my real submission and real appeal to this group is the classroom where we live with 1 second or 0.9 seconds kind of reverberation time. If we get it to the 0.6 second, which is the standard globally exists for learning ability, we can impact the learning quality in Indian education systems in a much bigger way. So that's what we say. Idea to reality is our theme. We say creative man is motivated by desire to achieve, not by desire to beat others. And success and leadership is all about being better than your former self than to worry about somebody else. So it's the small improvement which makes remarkable results when it comes to the long-term perspective of education. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot. The next one.
Good morning. I'm Dr. Karting, Vice Chancellor, Central University of Jharkhand. I'm here to share briefly on this topic, which has, if you look at it, bring quality and promoting inclusiveness in education to meet student aspirations. There are three areas here. In fact, each of them needs a tremendous discussion. Yesterday itself, we heard a lot of them. One is on quality. The other is on inclusiveness. And then student aspirations. Each of these by themselves can become huge discussion areas. However, I'd just like to share something from what we have done in our university. Our university, Central University of Jharkhand, is a very young university. We established only in 2009. So for me, I've come here to learn actually, rather than to advise you on what you should do. But from the practices that we have adopted, we feel that we have achieved something, and that's why I thought I'll accept this invitation to come and share with you what we have done in the last 4 years. When you say we are a new university, we start from scratch, from nothing, no land, no courses, no teachers, no students, nothing at all. And in these 4 years, and we've been able to come to something, and which I'm happy to share with you. As far as quality is concerned, yesterday we heard that there are many areas in how quality in the universities can be improved, from infrastructure to manpower. Now we are working from a temporary campus, so even in temporary campus we've tried to create a university atmosphere. We use prefab structures to create classrooms, to create quarters, to create hostels. And as of now we have 1,800 students of which 1,200 students are staying in the campus itself, even though it's a temporary campus. Now, one of the major challenges is on the faculty, getting quality faculty. When you say quality faculty, yes, we did talk about teachers who have, people who have research experience and who are motivated towards research. Now, we also, yesterday we said, a researcher is not necessarily a good teacher. So, but for us, when we're selecting on a national as well as global basis faculty from across, and within that half an hour, 1 hour, we're trying to assess whether this teacher or this person will be good for you for the next 30 years. There's not much that we have on. If we go like perhaps the IITs and IIM systems, they engage people on contract for a year, maybe 2 years, and then regularize them. We are not allowed to do that, to have them and then regularize them. If we have them for 1 year, 2 years, they can be a guest faculty, but they'll have to sit again for an open selection. We can't just simply regularize them. So there's a little difference in the method there. So what we try to do is, and we have adopted, is when we invite applications, we have a demo class in front of students, a live class, and it is the students who give an assessment on their communication skills, whether they can answer well, whether they're turning their backs when they're speaking, their posture, the way of delivery. We have that assessment also by the students themselves. We have a faculty there as an observer, but the students, we have several parameters, and the students give this. So this sheet is also put before the selection committee, who have the subject experts then, and they will then determine about the expertise as far as the subject is concerned. So that's one way that we've tried to overcome this, the teaching come research background or motivation or aspirations or knowledge that the person may have. Now, like most universities across the country, it's extremely difficult to get senior level faculty, especially in the associate and the professor level faculty. In the associate, we have 75% vacancies. In the professor level, we have 50% vacancies. So this is the problem that we face across the country. It's not just us, everywhere. Among the central universities alone, there are over 6,000 vacant teaching posts. So it's just not just us ourselves. We are a young university, so for us, how do we attract people to come to us in the first place? One of our problems with the new central universities is we have to go for a new pension scheme, and the pension is not transferable. The general pension that you may have, a senior person may have in the existing university, they cannot transfer to when they come to us. And so many senior faculty who might want to come to us, they don't, because they say we lose out on a pension. And so this is a major thing which we are taking with the Government of India. Government of India, the Ministry of Human Resources itself has taken up with the Ministry of Finance, and we're trying to sort it out. Last couple of years has not succeeded, but hopefully this year, in 2014, something perhaps will be done on that aspect. But till then, we have this problem. How do we overcome this then? For this, we have a special mode of appointment under our acts and statutes, where we can invite senior people, eminent people, eminent academicians, to be with us for a short time, even on a permanent basis. And that's what we've been doing. We've been able to get top people who've retired, from former, either from universities or from government CSIR labs or B schools. They've come to us, they joined us, and that's how we've been able to build up our university. Now, the result of this, in the last 4 years, our first graduate has yet come out. Most of our programs are 5-year integrated. So it means after +2, both the undergraduate and postgraduate are integrated as one degree. It's a dual degree, you can call it, dual integrated degree. So now, the results of what we've done can be seen in the achievement of the students, because our students of, say, MassCom, they've been participating in national and international film festivals, for example, and there they've been winning awards, right from Critics Awards to Best Student Award to Special Mention Award, Festival Awards. This type of awards they've been getting. In the management side, for example, this year, 2013, one of the top management colleges, Shri Ram College of Commerce in Delhi, they had a B-School national competition on case studies. Our students who are still in the undergraduate level, they came first. So in fact, we had two teams from our university who had finalists, and one team actually won on an all-day basis. In fact, last year when the Banaras Hindu University had also B-school competition across the country, our students came fourth. This year when the Korean, when JNU organized the Korean essay writing competition on an all-day basis, our students came first. So though they are still undergraduate, so we feel that we have been giving fairly good education to our students. Our students have been winning the Maths Olympiad in Bihar and Jharkhand, and now after 3 years we allow them to go out. They need not stay 5 years. We give them a graduate degree. Those who've got, who opted to go out, they've got admission into Tata Institute of Fundamental Research for Mathematics, into IIT Delhi, Delhi School of Economics, then Hyderabad University, Pondicherry University. So we feel education-wise, as far as the knowledge is concerned, they're doing very well. But we have said, no, it's not just knowledge that we are building up. It has to be a holistic development. So that's why we make extracurricular activities compulsory for the first 2 years. And there they have sports, music, drama, they can choose, and we give credits for that. We encourage also, and we make compulsory from the second year, they go for internship or placement or even just exposure, you can call it, to different laboratories, to different companies from the second year onwards. So that by the time they come to the 4th or 5th year, they're fairly matured. So now one group, the first batch, 4 centers started in 2009. They're now in the 5th year. Now many of them already, even now before completing the 5th year, many of them are already getting offers for placement. Of course, we have refused. The company said, no, you cannot give it yet. Let them complete the courses. But because of the internship and because of the good impression they've made in these companies, the companies are coming forward to actually make them offers even now. Okay. Now, as far as inclusiveness is concerned, where we talk about, for us, we are in a tribal state. Jharkhand is a tribal state. Now, it's extremely difficult to get people from the tribal areas to come because their level of education is still rather low, and many of them are not going for higher education. Now, the few that do go, they then leave the state and go elsewhere. And we have plenty of seats just going, vacant because for SC, ST seats, these are scheduled tribe, scheduled caste seats going vacant. So in the admission time, we advertise 2, 3, 4 times just for them specifically. So what we've been doing is, for the last 3 years, is we've come down to the school level. We have special coaching for class 11, class 12 students, school students, in science subjects, physics, chemistry, maths, life sciences. And then we also, our students, our own students, voluntary teach right from KG to class 10, students from their neighboring villages. And we've succeeded that in last year, of 14 students who were in class 10, 12 of them got first class. This year, there were only 5 students who came for class 10, all of them got first class, and they got from 66 to 76% marks. In the class 11, class 12, all of them have passed. Last year, one of the students came second in the Jharkhand board, one of the students that we trained. So from there, we are hoping that they'll also be encouraged to come to our university, and then perhaps then we'll be able to increase the number of students from especially this background group. As far as the aspiration is concerned, aspirations, they would like to get perhaps a good job, good pay. That's what they might want to do. Of course, contribute to society, certainly. Because we are trying to develop them not just as knowledgeable persons, but also as upright citizens. And that's why our motto of our university is knowledge to wisdom. That's our motto. So it's not just knowledge, but through your life experience, through exposure to society, to try and develop that knowledge, to become even wise people, sensitive people, aware of society around you, aware of your responsibility. That's what we are trying to do. And that's why we insist on this internship program that they go out. We insist on the students going to rural areas, having projects among rural, start with neighboring areas and then go further down. So now they go across the state, they even go to other states in rural areas and do some projects there. That's how we try to develop them. We've also succeeded to some extent to have an international exposure. We have signed MOUs with at least 6 universities across the world, from China, from Korea, from US, from Thailand, from Estonia. And as of now, at least 7 students are undergoing 6 months placement or exchange, you can call it, in Korea, a full fellowship. Next year, 11 students have been selected by Indiana University, Pennsylvania, for specialized training for 1 month in nanotechnology. So these type of things we are also we are facilitating our students to go out there. Of course, we don't pay from the university for them, but we facilitate these. So this is what we are also doing. This year, 2 of our students were chosen to sit in the Prime Minister's box in the Republic Day Parade. Out of 100 students across the country, 2 from our university selected. Even now, 1 student is with the press division in the President's press division in Rashtrapati Bhavan for a 3-month internship. And because of his good performance, they've extended for another 3 months. So this is what we have succeeded in doing. And hopefully this is how we are trying to fulfill the quality, the inclusiveness, and the aspirations. I look forward to further advice. Yes, I heard a lot of, and I've already identified many people that I'll be discussing with to seek one-to-one advice from them. So I look forward to your advice and to bring up our university to certainly be a great university to contribute to society. Thank you so much.
Distinguished colleagues, like my immediate predecessor, I'm also not going to make any PowerPoint presentation. And whether it is going to be a powerful presentation, it is for you to decide. My focus would be on one particular word that was used by organizers in this session, the aspirations of the students. How can our education institutions meet the aspirations of students? My mind goes back to Barack Obama's election speeches when he was seeking office for the 2nd term to the Capitol Hill. In order to woo the Indian voters, his constant refrain was, be careful about 2 fellows in the world. And when I say 2 fellows in the world, I'm not referring to Chinese. I'm referring to youngsters from 2 countries, South Korea and India. The younger generation from these 2 countries is not prepared to settle even for the 2nd best. They want the first best. How can we provide the first best? When the whole world is looking to India, Alvin Toffler's Power Shift clearly says the emergence of a great knowledge society in 21st century in India will make India a power to be watched in 21st century. Because he says ultimately all distinctions would disappear, accepting that of male and female and knowledge haves and knowledge have-nots. Now, how do you cope with the expectations of student aspirations? I'm reminded of the opening sentence when you enter the hall of the International Labour Organization, which says, if you seek peace, cultivate justice. And injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. You are focusing on quality education. Equality is as important as quality, if not more important. You cannot afford to price out the vital sections of society because education has become now a tool of empowerment. And therefore, the hierarchical nature in education negates the idea of equality. We should focus upon that. And digital learning should try to bridge the digital divide, but should not create the hiatus. Now, what is the state? I represent an institution which has now become a byword for excellence in legal education. National Law School of India, University, Bangalore, which was established in 1988, when people used to think that youngsters in India, if they have nothing else to do, they would join law colleges. Because in 1970s and 1980s, the popular saying was that law colleges provide the parking spaces for the vehicles which cannot be parked elsewhere. And pursuing legal education was a national hobby or a pastime. And India perhaps was producing brilliant lawyers in spite of law colleges and not because of law colleges. Then came this experiment called National Law School of India University. Today it is 25 years young. Believe me, ladies and gentlemen, this is one of the best examples of public-private partnership with focus on equality, with focus on autonomy. And this National Law School of India University, Bangalore, today is a force to be reckoned with in the map of the legal education of the world. Twice in the history of 25 years, we defeated all top QS ranked 200 universities to win a very prestigious event called Jesup Moot Court event. Now that had been possible because of our emphasis both on quality and equality. There is no doctor of funds, let me tell you. The moment you prove to the world that excellence is a byword, money flows. In National Law School of India University, our avowed objective is no student will be denied admission if he has merit just for want of rupee considerations. All students who cannot afford to pay the fees of our institution, their education is subsidized by various governmental agencies. We have initiated a process about 20 years ago of convincing the different government departments, and having realized that today the young mind is treated with respect, and National Law School of India University has started producing brilliant lawyers. Every student who needs subsidy, that means it is need-based, it is provided to us. Functional autonomy is given to us. Therefore, my point here is the objective should not be maximization of prestige of the institution or maximization of profits, but maximization of social benefits. And this can be done by impressing upon the powers that be. It is difficult, but it's not impossible. That had been our experience. And that is how you can meet the aspirations of the students and make education as inclusive as possible, to prevent our population dividend from becoming a population nightmare. 21st century, next 2 decades are going to be very crucial, where if the main tool of empowerment called education is denied and the aspirations of the youngsters are not fulfilled, there could be many more contraindications creating in corridors of different colors all over the country. Therefore, aspirations of the youngsters have to be met by initiating a happy dialogue. Privatization in education is a reality which cannot be ignored. At the same time, the state cannot play a minimal role. It has got to play an optimal role. And both public and private should work in tandem. And one of the best examples is National Law School of India University. That is how we can meet the aspirations of the students. But my fervent appeal is that no person should be denied access to institutions of excellence. Because a number of sociologists have pointed out, in India the poor are poor not because they have lack of money, but because they have lack of access to resources and institutions. So that access has to be provided by us, and conferences like this should deliberate to think as to how wherewithal should be provided to make education as inclusive as possible. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Very good morning to all of you. At the outset, let me thank ILETS for organizing this program, which in my opinion is of paramount importance. I would like to say that a lot of very important deliberations we have heard over the last 2 days. Yesterday and today, a lot of very eminent speakers they have spoken. I would not like to repeat any of those things which have already been spoken so far. And those are all very important points, no doubt. But let me just with a small note introduce that I am fortunate to belong to two institutes. Currently I am the Vice Chancellor of one of the oldest engineering universities in India, which is 157 years old, only after Roorkee Engineering College. The university, Bengal Engineering and Science University at Shibpur, it has the distinction of creating the IIT system in India, because this university has created everything about the initial planning, acts and statutes of IIT, the first IIT at Kharagpur. I am also having the distinction of being associated with IIT Kharagpur for the last almost 35 years. The IIT, which is not only the biggest, not only the oldest, but the trendsetter amongst all the IITs. In technical education, whatever IIT Kharagpur has done today, the rest of the IITs have followed tomorrow. Now, we had gone through several changes, and as all of us witness, that we have come to a certain point which, historically speaking, is a point of where an avalanche is going to take place. Currently, the higher education scenario in the country, it looks like a solid Himalayan rock, monolithic rock, with a lot of snow-laden surface. But then, the problem does not appear on the surface all on a sudden. When we see the cancerous germs or the cells getting carcinogenic, it does not start from the surface. It starts from the bottom of the epithelium. There's a layer which is known as basement layer, basal layer. The cells there, they turn from normal to carcinogenic. And similarly here as well, in Indian education system, it appears that the cells inside the bottom layer of the epithelium have started to become from normal to abnormal. Why is it so? Just some time back we heard some very interesting topics. You know, the universities, first we have to identify that what is their role. If the role of the university is just to give the degrees, then that is one thing. Teach thousands and thousands of students, and at the end of the whole program give some degrees. But then that was not the concept of universities right from the beginning, whether it's in Greece or in Italy or even in the olden days of Taxila or Nalanda. Even in more modern times, let me tell you some of the interesting things. Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore, whose 100 years of Nobel Prize winning we are observing this year throughout the country. Tagore, he had built Shantiniketan. And Shantiniketan, while doing Shantiniketan, he was not only a great poet. In my opinion, he was a great man of science. His book on Vishwaparichaya is one of the finest books written on science, one of the finest books that has ever been written by any author. Unfortunately, Vishwaparichaya, it has just been translated in English, but then it's not a part of curriculum anywhere. So when he was starting Sriniketan, he used to take all his students. We talked, just now heard a lecture on how to reduce the acoustics reverberation. There are a lot of things. One is reverberation, so sound. Our students, we are teaching them. Acoustics is an important subject, both in architecture and also in electronics. We are teaching subjects on illumination engineering, both to electrical engineering, architects. But then, very interesting things, no student has ever been asked that in your classroom you measure the reverberation. What is the reverberation? You know, it must be less than 0.6 seconds to make it more friendly. Similarly, in terms of illumination, nobody has been asked. For example, the company, they will sell the sound absorbing material. Will anybody tell the students that you find out what is there inside, you find out the mechanisms of sound absorption, you find out how much truly the sound absorption takes place, you find out the model of acoustic wave propagation? No. We do it. We do the same things, we give the problems in the class and they are retained. So, until and unless the education in the universities are directly linked with something that the students will work, things will not change. It was 1959. An evening lecture by none other than one of the finest physicists of our times, post-Einsteinian era, that was Richard Feynman. So Richard Feynman in 1959, in that evening lecture, the lecture was titled, There's Enough Space Below. Now the whole idea was, that was sort of the beginning of nanoscience and technology. In his lecture, what he had given was an introduction, that is how small we can go. Very interesting. There in that lecture, Feynman, he had given an open invitation to all the universities, to all the young people, that if you can come out with a micro motor, those days in 1959, the second problem was that the entire Encyclopedia Britannica should be put under a tip of a pen. And I have forgotten, maybe that the prize amount was something or somewhere around $10,000. If anybody can do from any part of the country or even from any part of the globe, he gets that. So $10,000 in 1960s is a big amount today. And interestingly, the American universities, they really insisted, they really encouraged a lot of universities, their students, that let them try to do that. After almost 18 years in late 1970s, somebody came up with the idea and he one day telephoned Richard Feynman that, Professor Feynman, I have found the solution. A young researcher. And that's how the innovation is inculcated in the university system. All that we see in the form of modern technology today, it has been generated, a lot of the ideas have been generated in the universities. When Jack Calby first talked in 1958, the first, small scale integrated circuit, the smallest one in 1958, those days, he was a young man. He was not like Shockley or Brattain or Bardeen. He was a young man who did it. Out here in our country, again this year is a great year with the innovation, with the finding of boson, which is named after none other than Professor Satyendra Bose. So Professor Satyendra Bose, he writes in one place that while IIT Kharagpur was built way back in 1951 in a small deserted place in Kharagpur, somewhere around 120 kilometers from Calcutta, it was a barren land and there was no water. Those days there were people in Rajasthan called paniwalas. So paniwalas, they used to carry a stick, and then they will carry the stick from one place to another and somewhere they will stop in Rajasthan and they will say that, okay, you dig and you will get water inside. And truly, in many places that was the way. Paniwalas were very important parts of our society. So Satyendra Bose said, he's writing in one of his, in one place, he says that I found in a paper, he writes it, he was writing it in 1970s. In fact, he died somewhere in mid-70s, possibly in 76, 75, yeah, in early 70s. He writes that an Austrian physicist, he has taken all his students, and then in Sahara Desert, he was doing an experiment that if there is any change in the water level underneath, then if there's a big discontinuity in the flow, then a very small and a very weak electromagnetic field is generated on the surface. Now, this was a theory, this has been observed. So, an Austrian physicist, imagine, he goes with his students to Sahara Desert to do that experiment where very low intensity electromagnetic field can be measured. He writes in one place, first of all, in India today, we do not have any place where you can do this experiment. Secondly, even if some professor can afford to set up some instrument, it will be all locked up inside the Almirah. It will never be available to any of the students. And that's how the university system goes on. What I am saying is, until and unless there's a radical change in the thinking process, which truly is very difficult. In fact, for the last, this is my second term as Vice Chancellor. I do not know many Vice Chancellors. That's usually in India they do not get. And somehow I had to continue. I had gone back to IIT Kharagpur, joined, and after 2 days again I came back. And I wanted an assurance from the teachers that please ensure that you would look forward to excellence, because universities cannot have any other role. We have talked about integrating research with teaching. What is the research today? Research means everybody knows, all of us, we know what is the number of papers, publications, and then I know that the person who is not capable of guiding even a single PhD student is today guiding 8 PhD students, and UGC has given some upper limitation, I have forgotten. Maybe that tomorrow UGC will come up with an idea that 20 research students can be guided. That's fine. But then everybody knows that, okay, what is the quality of journals that comes up? The PhDs and the papers are published for 2 reasons. And everybody, there's no hide and seek here. One is the promotion of the faculty members to go to the higher level, and for the student who gets a degree. That's all. And where is the true research component? And that's a very important thing. Unless you decouple the two, let a good teacher teach well. And obviously, I do agree with Vice Chancellor of Pune when he talked about the integration of research. There cannot be any teaching without research. At least in science and technology, I fully agree. There cannot be any good teaching without research. But then let it not be just sort of a, kind of normal routine affair. But then for doing research, we need analytical mind. Where is that analytical mind? Who creates that analytical mind? Yesterday during the dinner we were discussing that a student at 12th standard aspiring to get into IITs through JEE or even in some of the best state universities, they are putting up so much of hard labor to get into that. So hard labor is one thing. But then is it not that we are making them more non-analytic? We are making them through these, thousands of coaching courses a little bit more mechanical. Where is the analytical mind? You just simply change the whole context and the student gets confused. This is not the mind that the country or the globe needs today. Today there are problems. The problems of environment, huge problem. Everybody knows about that. Which university is talking about that the system, in my opinion, needs to change? I am unable to do that because my system, UGC, government, AICT, nobody supports. Other than the IITs, there is, in a sense, absolutely no freedom, no autonomy, nothing in the universities. One of the very, eminent, academicians, I know him for a long time, Professor Anjan Ghosh, he's from Tripura University. Yesterday he was talking about the difficulties. You want to start something truly great and you simply cannot do it because of the acts and statutes and this and that. What is needed now? 2, 3 important points. One is connectivity. Until and unless the connectivity between the universities and truly between a university and an industry is enhanced, nothing can happen. Professor was talking about the enabler. We need inclusion. Absolutely right. The thousands of people staying in places where even thousands of analytic minds are hidden who do not even get the opportunity. The question is, the national leaders must think that how to ensure that these minds get enough of opportunity to get into IITs, because in a conventional sense of IIT JEE or the state JEEs, they will never be able to get into any of the big institutions. Today, the finest universities throughout the globe, they have understood. And with proliferation of lot of MOOCs, lot of open, courseware available, the questions that are coming tomorrow for the universities are like this. That what will be the relevance of classroom teaching as we do today? The students, no point saying that they are not attentive. Very rightly, there are so many reasons for they are not being attentive. The attention deficiency, it has come down to hardly 12 minutes. Beyond 12 minutes, which is drastically getting down, tomorrow beyond 5 to 7 minutes, one will not be able to retain their attentivity. You just keep on changing. The question is how to ensure that that should be enhanced. Let the students have their own free time. Lot of open software, open courseware are available. Let them do it. What is the necessity that they have to undergo a class which in a sense is a boring class, where he knows it very well that I did not get anything out of that. Now the question is, we have to think, and then a lot of connectivities are required. The connectivities between the universities, connectivities throughout, from University of Pennsylvania, UPenn, we are having a collaboration. I'll just give you two examples in my university. University of Illinois students and our students of electronics, jointly they have started a VoIP lab, Voice over Internet Protocol, which is one of the most important things in communication, as we all know. A lab which is being mentored and which is being controlled by the students of two universities. No teacher. In my university, I told only one teacher is notionally connected, but nobody helps. It's just the connectivity of the students. And as Friedman had said, in this soft and in this flat world, it is the connectivity, connectivity and connectivity. Connectivity amongst the universities. I need not have connectivity with the global university alone. Amongst all of us, can we have a connectivity? Amongst all of us, the industries and those of us who are present here, can we have a connectivity, more intense connectivity, so that after the program is over, there will be a residue. If there's no residue, thousands of such conferences, conventions take place without any value. And I'm sure that ILET, which has taken this bold and grand step, where universities are present, where industries are present, let's ensure how connectivity can be established. Many of the universities may not be having fund. Please, industries, you have to come forward. If I do not have fund, I may have a lot of innovative minds. Help them. Be connected with them. What Indian industries do not understand is if they have got a presence in the universities, forget about anything, forget about business. Just there are enough of young, brilliant minds in the universities who can help you. And from my university, I have made it absolutely open. I have brought out a book on success stories. The universities may do well to bring out one such booklet. While since I was late, so I forgot it in that cafeteria. So success story of some of the big projects which we have done, the students of my university for the society, where the students learn from doing in their own hands. Thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Manoj Arora from Peck University of Technology, Chandigarh. I'm on Leon from IIT Roorkee there. I've recently joined there as director. As Professor Ray just mentioned that I am from the oldest college of this country. Yeah. So anyway, I'm just going to talk on, in general, quality of higher engineering education in India. Some recent quotes, if I may say. Our higher engineering education is not where we would like to see it in comparison to the world knowledge scenario. Whereas improvement of quality is central to any vision of higher education, which Ashok Thakurji recently said in one of the meetings. And at present, frankly, the quality and employability of the vast majority of our graduates are both questionable, as we have been listening to. This was stated by our Minister Shashi Tharoor. Let's look at some numbers. There are 89 technical universities in India. At UG level, 16% of the total are pursuing engineering and technology degree. And there are about 23 lakhs of engineering and BTech students. Total enrollment in PhD is just 15,000. And the ratio of engineering PhDs to science is 1:4, very, very low. But again, some numbers. In the ranking for 2012, India is the only BRIC country that has not found place in the first 200. In fact, India's share of the world publications in science and technology is mere 2.5% as compared to other leading nations. India's contribution to high impact research paper is less than 1%. So when we are talking of quality, Professor Ray just now touched upon the quality of research, and that's what is happening. In the case of China, the number of patents issued has increased from 10 to 260, whereas same numbers in India are 5 and 10 only. So are we really looking at the quality of higher education in India? In fact, there is an overall deterioration in the quality of engineering education due to acute shortage of faculty, poor laboratory and library facilities, and limited or absence of autonomy, which just now people mentioned here. These are some of the excerpts from minutes of the meeting of State Higher and Technical Education Secretaries held recently. They say training of teacher is a big challenge in the higher education sector. It is. The kind of mushroom of colleges which is coming up in the country, there the teachers who are getting employed are really not worth teaching in those institutions. So their training is important. Shortage is one of the major concerns. So what are the ingredients? As you might know, students, faculty, academic curricula, management of engineering education, accreditation system, and resource mobilization. As far as quality is concerned, JEE, GATE, people are coming through these examinations, but again, they are coached to clear this examination. Real analytical talent is missing. Allocation of programs, is it by choice or per force? Many a times students are admitted just by the choice of their parents. So we are not allowing them to think in the way they want to achieve a particular career. As far as teaching and evaluation is concerned, is single examination system is based or continuous evaluation is good? We have to ponder over it. As far as quality of faculty is concerned, shortage is there. Service conditions are not proper. Salary structure is poor. Now it is improving, but still it is not. It is insignificant in comparison to the people who are getting in industry. So not many good quality people are coming to teaching. So we are in IITs, for example. Even in IITs also, not good academicians are coming up. The talent of student is there, but the quality of teachers is not up to the mark as far as that is concerned. So On the top of it, we as a teacher don't have to just teach. We have to look for other things also if we really want to improve upon our teaching, for example, research, consultancy, extension services, and so on. Quality of academic curricula is also important. Every 5 years or 6 years, these kinds of upgradations should keep on happening, and we need to interact with the industry in what ultimately people would like them to be. So every 5 years or so, this kind of upgradation should take place. Governance, again, proper freedom has to be given to the institutes to really grow in a particular direction if they really want to achieve the quality in higher education. Is accreditation is the way forward? Maybe there also some question marks are there. Sometimes a lot of subjectivity is involved in accreditation. Sometimes the accreditation team which is coming over there is judging an institute which is, say, for example, 100 years old, and the people who are there coming to accredit, they are just 5 years or 10 years old standing institutions. So how would they accredit those kinds of institutions? So we can measure the quality in several ways. So as far as quality of students is concerned, it's not a major problem. There are things happening as far as entrance examination is concerned. Right now, JEE is a two-stage process wherein you can filter and then get quality students in various institutes. But again, that number is 2 to 3%. Faculty, we do need to provide them with greater research support to people who really do research. We have to motivate those people. We have to give some kinds of incentives to those people so that the research improves and hence the quality of the teaching also improves. So we need to create this kind of environment in the institution. And obviously funding is a major issue as far as infrastructure is concerned. We just heard about beautiful talk on acoustics. And some of the institutes are so old that I just wanted to talk to him regarding that if some oldest institutes are there, what solutions these people have to improve upon the acoustics of various lecture rooms over there. New institutes, you can start afresh, but in the old institutes, we need technology which can be really useful to improve upon our classrooms and so on. We need to strengthen industry-academia linkage. It is improving, but we have to do a lot as far as industry-academia interaction is concerned. We have to promote one full semester, 6 months training of the students. We have to take the students outside the classrooms to visit various industries, and of course, the use of ICT is going to be very important in the coming days as far as our education is concerned. Students there in the class are not just ready to listen to only the teachers. They just don't want blackboard kind of teaching because they don't want textbook kind of teaching. They want case studies in the lecture room, and these can happen only through these ICT technologies there. And of course, we have to, institutes who have long standing, they have to network with their alumni so that they also can contribute in bringing out the quality of higher education in that particular institute. Of course, greater autonomy has to be provided. So there is a need for well-trained, motivated teachers and researchers, innovative research for societal needs and new products, and we really have to do innovation in our teaching learning processes in order to really achieve the quality of technical education in India. Otherwise, we shall be producing thousands and thousands of engineers with an employment rate of only 25%. Those 75% of the engineering graduates which are coming out of the institutes are really be worthless. We have to think over it. Thank you very much.
A very good morning to everybody. Co-Vice Chancellors, sponsoring people of this wonderful seminar, and the scientists from the various institutions. I am very much delighted to stand before you to talk about the quality of education, higher education in India. I am Dr. James Pichai, Vice Chancellor, Bharatiyar University, Government of Tamil Nadu, Coimbatore. My dear academicians, highly qualified people, the status quo or the scenario of higher education has to develop in our nation. Nation, Bharat. We, Bharat, as producing the wonderful academicians, whatnot, higher education graduates for the world. Yes, India, the scenario is very critical nowadays because the quality of higher education has to improve. Our first Prime Minister was thinking of enhancing the socio-economic status of Indians after the independence. We have faced so many revolutions, including the green, industrial, whatnot, white. All revolutions has paved a way to develop another revolution in education. Started with 21 universities in pre-independence. With the enrollment of 2.1 lakhs, higher education has enhanced till about 66 years. Now, according to the census of UGC, India has 700 universities in India, 30th June of 2013. Out of which is the 44 is the central universities, 306 is the state universities, 159 is the deemed universities, 129 is the private universities, and 67 is the institutions or degree offering institutes in India. We have got recognized educational, higher education and institutions in India is 33,541. Plus of nearly about 11,000 something is the another unrecognized under UGC. So, we have got the enrollment of 2 crores 3 lakhs 27,447 as per the census of UGC in higher education. The role of higher education enrollment out of 100%, 72% is the arts and science and humanities. Rest of the 28% takes care of the medicine, agricultural, polytechnics, whatnot, law, veterinary and other things comes around. Really engineering is around about 3.5 to 4%. Nearly other things are rest of the courses. Yes, out of this, the research oriented PhD is nothing but 1,60,687. That is 1% of the enrollment of higher education in India. We, the population, according to the 12th March of 2012 says 121 crores, 1,93,642 as per the census, which lives in 35 states, that is 28 states with the 7 union territories, with 646 districts. Just imagine 7,942 cities, 6,41,956 villages, out of which the higher education stands in a very pathetic condition. Yes, we want to produce more of graduations. Nearly in 2020, we are going to produce nearly about 652 million youth for higher education. What is the plan of today's, with so much of extra universities in India? Yes, Indian scenario in higher education has to work because the augmentation of higher education methodologies, advent of latest technologies and whatnot, the thoughts and ideas of the people from outside R&D, which carries the educational system, adoption of various technologies, acceptance, application, all those things will have to enhance the quality of higher education. 60% of the youth of the world is in India, we know very well. The teaching community has to play a vital role for the development of higher education. state universities. At the same time, at the other hands, the private universities are competing each other for the betterment of higher education for our youth. Yes, youth has to play a vital role in the education system. Even though we have got the 60% of the 18 to 23 age group in India, which accounts now is 253 million people, which is enhancing, going abroad with the wings of our graduation degrees to all the world, fly off and bringing back $77 billion per year as in the name of foreign exchange. What it indicates? Quality. Yes. Then language is the barrier of our graduates. Unlock the barrier of language has to come in our quality measures. Yes. The various agencies of ICT technology which gives the ways and means for the enhancement of higher education has to be worked out. These 2 days deliberations, I saw the skill development, whatnot, the quality development, then the wealth or the automation or whatnot, the cost of education, the quality of education, the scenario of higher education. Definitely, the deliberations and the outcome of these 2 days will be useful for the betterment to improve the higher education. Bharatiyar University, under the Acts and Statutes of Tamil Nadu government, as initiated in the year 1981, about just 32 years back, is one of the state university which ranks in the top 50 universities in India, the largest campus in India of 1,800 acres, prevailing all graduates and all the departments, nearly about 38 departments we have. We are the only university with the South India having the Defense Research and the Air Force Administrative College and the Academic College of Wellington comes under our great university. So we have enrolling nearly about 484,000 students per totally, and around 1 lakh per year. So our distant education mode, the CPOP and the CP graduate centers throughout the India, from Kashmir to Kanyakumari, including 19 countries in the world. We register around 643 centers around the world. So the educational system has paved the wonderful ways and means to educate our youth for the betterment of tomorrow. Any elevation for an independent, for any country or even individual is not permanent. Any elevation through education is the only permanent source. Universities are the lighthouse. We know very well. As Alexander quoted about the dealing things, the leader has to deal the things properly through the educational system. And Teresa has quoted, "Your handsome with the knowledge may not be good, but hands for somebody with your knowledge is always good." Yes. So Mahatma Gandhi said, the syllabi and curricula of the whole curriculum system of Indian education has to go along with the experience and thoughts and the quality of teachers. Yes, teachers are the noblest profession sent by God to educate, to elevate the young boys. The disease of sidetracking the adolescents' property has to be cured with the medicine of education, that is higher education. The initial given by the universities are the life initial for their quality life in future. Because universities are the lighthouse of India, quoted by Jawaharlal Nehru. Anything is small is so beautiful, quoted by the shoemaker of the world economist. Education is the small world which has its own wings to fly off to any nook and corner of the world with a quality education, as the talk of the day of today's Indians' education. Indian education is the oldest education in the world. The language barrier. In our country, we were having the lot of Bill Gates and lot of Thomas Alva Edisons are there. Because of the knowledge problem, we couldn't take the science and technology to the global level, which is a need-based now. The thought of today has to go, our thoughts and ideas, technologies has to be pumped out from India to the global level. Because the capacity of creating technologies is the economic power of the nation, in the nation of the knowledge era. Today, we are in the knowledge era. Technologies is the wonderful thing for us. These technology has to be derived through innovatives and innovations, innovative methodologies. These innovations has to be harvested from the fertile field of research. Yes, universities are the fertile field of research. Teachers and scientists has to dream According to the dream of it, he has to draw the sketch. The drawn sketch has to be colored. The colored sketch and the drawn sketch colored has to be given life. The life has to be kept in the intellectual part that is called university. Nobody in the world has born in the world from mother's womb as an intellectual. Everyone has made intellectual through knowledge, through involvement. To imbibe knowledge is the most thing for the quality education. The Bharatiyar University last year, the largest recruitment per day is 1,172, out of which 1,163 has joined in the IT field in South India as Chennai based, because Tamil Nadu is an industrial and intellectual hub. Our average higher education enrollment in India is 13.5%, whereas the Tamil Nadu higher education enrollment is 19%. The Vision 2023 of the most respected intellectual Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu has paved the way to enhance the higher education percentage in Tamil Nadu. Tamil Nadu is the only state in India and the world who has distributed the laptops for the higher education, high school students of 10th, 11th, 12th, so that the education has brought to the world and the palms of the students. Nearly, exactly but 3 months before, Tamil Nadu government in the year 2011, 12 and 13, we have distributed 12,46,757 laptops to the students, including the college students of third year, which is very recently has been introduced. This shows the higher education quality has to be improved. The quantity of education has to be improved once upon the thoughts of our Indian mind. But now the quality has to be taken care of, because 74% of the developed countries of US higher education, percentage of higher education when compared to 13.5% will pave the way. Indian students are the brightest student in the world, which has the capacity of retention capacity is very wide. So, these sort of deliberations, even though dragged for 1 hour, the quality education is a thought for today. So, the outcome of this wonderful workshop, yes, I know that. Yes, so we'll bring back the quality, because the deliberation sitting in Goa is a wonderful thought of ideas of enhancing the educational system with various sponsors which have the closer links with the universities. Vice chancellors, academicians, highly qualified people, is our responsibility to take care of the enhancement of higher education, quality higher education in an affordable rate. Once upon a time, education was available in India in metropolitan cities. Only for the rich people in India education was given. Now, the scenario has been changed. Education has come to nook and corner of the village of India. Knocking the door, education has come. Allow me to your house to educate everyone, every Indian in an affordable rate. Yes, education is the cheapest now with all sorts of things. The companies have come forward to invest, to take the educational to the extreme end of even any age group. Education has to be in a quality purpose. I thank the organizers given me the wonderful opportunities, and again the academicians of hearing patiently the wonderful thoughts and ideas. Tamil Nadu, yes, with a lot of 7 crores, 28 lakhs, 39,654 population with 33 districts, with an area of 1,30,058 square kilometers. Yes, with the 2,346 educational institutes, 55 universities in India, next to UP and Punjab. We stand in the 3rd rank in the number of educational institutions. We say education will brought Tamil Nadu is a wonderful situation, making the higher education enrollment in a high, the vision of our most respected intellectual Chief Minister, Madam. Once again, I thank the academicians and the vice chancellors and the other people, those who are involved in these wonderful deliberations of yesterday and today and tomorrow. Thank you, one and all.
Hello. Questions, if any, to any of the speakers in this session? We will take only 2 questions.
Thank you very much.
Please introduce yourself also.
Dr. S.S. Chahal from Punjab, TB University. Now, wonderful presentations have been made. And I was very impressed with this presentation made by the Vice Chancellor that research and connectivity is very important in our institution. That is needed, really needed, of course. Now, we are looking for the days when we used to think that a person sitting in the sun with closed eye, a scientist, most busy person at that time. So that situation has totally changed in the university. All the system in university that has become more mechanical sort of things to meet the things. But aspiration of the students, those are totally different. How we can bring out a great philosopher in our university, that part is lacking. That is of course needed. It's a wonderful presentation. My second query that is more directed to Dr. Arora, he has made beautiful presentation and he has digged out certain things that motivated teachers, innovation, research, this element of research, it is lacking in our system in technical education, accreditation for example. But the big question is, we know these all things that we are lacking in our institution, but the big question lies how? How these elements should be introduced in our system. Say for example, I gave just one example, accreditation. Do we now accept this accreditation system prevailing in the country is ideal? I don't think. What are the parameters they have taken? A team comes for 3 days, 4 days, and then they evaluate the institution. Is it divisible? Is the system, we should accept it? Then what changes should be brought out? How the recommendation from this type of fora should go to this thing, and this, we have to bring out these changes, for example. For example, this accreditation system, it should be in such a way that everything should be embedded in it. If an institution gets certain part of things, it should be given a certain marks, 2.5, 3.5. It should be throughout the year, long. And if he achieved this type of grade, if this of numerical value, and then institution come to this level, there should be some sort of this. But these system, we have to think. We know that these deficiencies are there, many deficiencies are there in our institution, but how this change has to be brought out, that is very important to think, and that I think that should be more deliberated, that what are the parameter of this which should be bring it. Thank you.
No, Professor Chahal very rightly said, we as universities are producing PhDs, and the way that we are producing PhDs is horrible. We first have to really, as a teacher, I have to first think whether I am getting the quality research work done by the person whom I am guiding. The basic instinct should be very strong as far as research is concerned. Unless and until I become very, very motivated towards research, only then quality research could happen. And by promoting research through sponsored research, again, the industry also has to come forward. The government, the way the sponsor research projects from government people are completing, piles of project reports are there in DSTs and other agencies. But again, some quality check has to be there, but ultimately it will come from within myself that what kind of research I have to get done from my students.
Well, that is all right. That is what you are talking of, motivation and motivated teachers. That is perfectly all right. But so far research is concerned, we are lacking in our institution. We have no problem-oriented research in our university. Research for the research sake. That research for the degree sake. But so far as problems are concerned, those are at the backstreet.
Now, this is a very interesting question, and it needs serious deliberation. Very interesting question. In my opinion, we now need to, because today's research, it has to be more of interdisciplinary nature. But if you just see in the conventional university system, we do not have much scope about that. Electronics teachers, they do not even talk to their next door neighbors who are in computer science. Leave apart that the architecture, electrical, for example, I am giving several examples. What is needed in 21st century approach is more of integration of the different subjects and the disciplines. Now that is something lacking, and until unless we have a complete change in our structure and statutes, It's simply impossible. For example, we can have a lot of interdisciplinary subjects. The newer subjects have to be floated. Students, they are very bright. Giving you some example. For example, in mathematics department, the teacher he is teaching, the mathematics teacher, he is teaching, the regression, he is teaching correlation. The students, they just solve little bit of problems. There is no correlation with some other departments. Let's see, the civil engineering department, it has got an environmental engineering group. They are continuously, they are doing the same thing. The students may be given, even in the first year, a feel of interdisciplinary things. Like say, how much of carbon dioxide is being created in the different countries. Then the power consumption with carbon dioxide consumption, these things with mathematics department, if the teachers, if they form a network, a group, what is important is the interdisciplinary networking group amongst the teachers from various departments. Let them form groups and thereafter they can take up interdisciplinary research. Let it start from undergraduate, go to postgraduate, let there be in the same group, let them take some postgraduate programs and then in the research. Best of the papers today, they come out of the multidisciplinary nature papers from various universities, even from USA, from UK, from Europe, from India. 12, 13 publications, 12, 13 authors in our country, me and my student. And those papers' qualities are absolutely horrible. Serious nature papers where so many people from so many universities, they are looking at different angles. I think in India, we have to start that kind of a program. And interdisciplinary nature of engineering and science curriculum is a very important theme which I thought should be addressed in this particular gathering. But you have put up a very right question.
I think we now have shortage of time,
Yeah,
so we can
standing between your
discuss
interesting
during
discussions and the tea breaks and everything, but then we can actually take these questions off the session, and that's the whole purpose of this conference, to bring you, away from the daily hustles and bustles to Goa, so that we can have a long networking discussion off the dais and not just on the dais. So that's why we are in Goa. So I would like to thank all the speakers to join us in the session, and we would love to take all the queries. Many people, I'm sure, would be having questions for you as well. So we would take this opportunity, to thank all of you to be with us. We have come from different places, and it was a long journey, I understand. So we'll start with the next session, and then we would follow the tea break, because we are running a little late. So thank you so much to all of you, sir.